'Twas brillig in the slithy toes did gyre and gimble in the wabe. All mimsy were the bar groves and the mome raths outgrabe. Guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I have kind of a goofy little single shot 20 gauge that I'm reviewing. This is a Hatfield SGL. I know that the Hatfield guns were being sold through Walmart a few years ago. I think they still are, and I think maybe some other shops had them. I don't know where to get these. I'm not sure if they're only available at Walmart or someplace else. But this is a line of very inexpensive guns. A lot of them come from Turkey. A lot of them have a pretty poor reputation. The ones that are repeaters, like the semi-autos, they don't have a good reputation. But the simplicity of a single shot, I would think they're probably not going to screw this up too badly. So I do want to check it out today. This one has been cut down. I'm quite sure it did not leave the factory with that barrel length. Although somebody did a pretty good, I can see it's a little uneven. Somebody did a decent job, and I haven't measured this. Yeah, I think we're good. Don't think we have a short-barreled shotgun here. I want to thank Robert for making this one available to test, and I know that he would break out a tape measure in his shop and measure this if it came through the door and somebody were trying to sell it to him. So I was confident that we were over 18 inches. You can tell it's a very modern gun. It's got some Phillips head screws, which you would not see traditionally on most firearms. Got some Phillips head screws, but on modern guns you do see them from time to time. Some of the screws are slotted. This trigger guard appears to be plastic. That slides backwards to allow the gun to fold, which is not a bad feature. It's not a bad design. It's got a crossbolt safety, which is a very modern feature. You wouldn't see that on older guns. You might see a crossbolt down here, but the idea that you would block the hammer with a crossbolt, that's a fairly modern thing to do. One of the biggest clues that it's modern, it's got one of these crazy QR codes on it. So you can tell it was made within the last few years. We got a little cutout here in the forestock because when we fold this, unlike so many break actions that just open far enough to load them, this one will fold sort of all the way over. And a lot of people would look at that and think, well, that's just some kind of marketing thing. You just want to be different. It doesn't really serve any function. No, the big function, and there have been guns like this for a long time, the big function of this is if you can fold it over, it can fit more easily in something like a suitcase. So if you're traveling, it's easier to store and you don't have to have a big long gun case. Back in the days of when people traveled frequently by train, that sort of thing was really popular. Sometimes you get guns that fold all the way over. More frequently, like early 20th century, you get takedown guns. A lot of old Model 94s were takedown guns, Winchesters, Model of 1895 Winchesters, Model 12 Winchester shotguns, Model of 1897 Winchester shotguns, Model 10 Remington shotguns. Lots of those old guns were takedown guns. And they would sort of twist apart in the middle. Instead of one gun that's 4 feet long, you'd have two halves that were about 2 feet long. You could get them in your suitcase. Nowadays, that means you could travel with a gun in some kind of bag or suitcase or whatever that doesn't just scream firearm. You know, one of these long cases, people see that and say, oh, I know he's got a gun in there. You could fold this up and store it in some kind of smaller container so that people don't realize you're carrying a firearm. I don't think that was so much the issue 100 years ago. It was more like traveling with this long container is inconvenient and it's hard to store on the train. Much easier to store it if it's just the size of a suitcase. And I understand that in Italy, bird hunting is super popular, and hunting specifically with guns like this is also very popular. Again, you can fold them and put them in your suitcase, and there, because they still travel a lot by train, it's more convenient to travel by train. And also, that does have the modern concern of, well, I don't want people to know I have a firearm because people's attitudes toward firearms have really changed in the last 100 years. But in any event, so we've got this one that folds up, and that's kind of a neat feature. It's not a bad feature at all. And because this one's been cut so short, that of course means that once it's folded, the muzzle doesn't stick out past the buttstock. Some of you may have seen on Forgotten Weapons, Ian years ago showing off a folding shotgun, and he's got it under a trench coat or something, and he whips it out, and his is side-by-side. Snaps it closed, and he's ready to fight. Well, if for some reason you felt the need to carry a shotgun for defense, and you wanted to fold it up and carry it under your clothing like that, this is really a viable choice. I'm not recommending that. I think that's kind of silly, but if for some reason you felt the need to do that, this will do it. So that's kind of a neat feature. This is something that you could carry, where legal, check your local laws. Carry on your person a concealed shotgun. Bring it out. The biggest problem is if you put a shell in here, there's not much to keep it in, right? If you were running or you fell down or something, your shell could fall out. When you bring this out and you close it up, is it actually going to be loaded? I don't know. You'll have to answer that question for yourself. I don't know how you would keep a shell in there while it's in this folded condition and under your clothing, but it did occur to me, wow, if you wanted to replicate what Ian did with a more modern gun, this could do it. This one's 20 gauge, has a 3-inch chamber. I imagine with 3-inch shells it would kick pretty hard. We're just going to shoot it with 2 3/4 today and see how it does. Because this is so light, you know, a lot of these guns, and it's a locked breech, a lot of these guns do have some unpleasant recoil. So we're going to see how this one behaves itself. Whoever cut this down didn't bother putting much of any kind of bead on here, so aiming it or pointing it, they say you point a shotgun rather than aiming it. That might be a little bit difficult. You know, I said this is a plastic trigger guard, but it's got a little scratch on the finish, and I'm seeing something metallic show through, so I think that might actually be aluminum rather than plastic. It doesn't feel as cold as metal would, and it's got a seam line here, but I'm going to be honest, I can't tell what it is. Thought it was plastic, and maybe it isn't. But it's just an inexpensive shotgun, made in Turkey. Thumb back the hammer, press the trigger to fire. That's about it. It's got very, very plain wood on it, but seems very serviceable. Let's talk for a moment about operation. I already said we pull back the trigger guard, we open this up. It looks like it has an extractor only. It doesn't appear to eject. Well, let's put it on fire. If we thumb back the hammer and pull the trigger, the hammer stops right there. Under momentum, though, it would go all the way forward and strike the firing pin. In fact, we can see the firing pin protrude when we open up the gun. However, if we're not pressing the trigger, we have this rebounded hammer. It can't touch the firing pin. It's quite safe. So I think this crossbolt safety is very redundant. When the safety is on, we can still pull the trigger. You'll still get a click, but that's as far as the hammer can go because this crossbolt safety is blocking the hammer. So you do have some redundancy and safety, and that can be a good thing. My big worry, though, is that I would forget to take it off safe, and I would just get a click when I want to bang. I kind of wish it didn't have the crossbolt safety. If I were keeping this loaded in the home for defense, if it's all I had, I would probably keep a shell in the chamber. I would keep the hammer thumb back, and I would just keep the crossbolt safety on it. I would hang it up on a gun rack or lean it up in the corner or whatever. Even if this fell over, even if we had sear failure, we can't get it to fire because the crossbolt safety is on. And that way I could pick up the gun, take it off safe, and I'd be ready to shoot. Now, I am not recommending that you do that. That may not be safe for you. That's something that I think would work for me, but I'm not recommending that someone else should do that. I leave it up to you how to store your own firearms. I figure you know what you're doing. But yeah, if you needed an inexpensive gun to hunt with, this could be good enough. First gun for a kid, this might be okay. If you need an inexpensive shotgun for home defense, this might be okay. If you get a used one, again, I'm not crazy about talking about prices because they can change, but if you get a used one, $100 is probably about right. A lot of these, I think they were selling new for about $100, but I think they've gone up since then. Or I'm not even 100% sure these are still available, but when I see them turn up used, around $100 is about right. Well, for around 150, at least around here, or maybe a little more, you should be able to snag some kind of used pump action shotgun. So for an extra $50, to my mind, you get a lot more utility. But if you specifically wanted a 20 gauge, well, I don't see pump 20s coming up that sale in the used, for sale in the used market that often. When I do, they fetch a premium. So this might be a better choice for you. This might be something viable. If this is all you can afford, this might work. You know, I would encourage you to get something better if you can. But frankly, for $100, if that's all you got to spend for a gun to hunt with, this I bet will put meat on the table. If you need to defend your life and your home, this might do very well. You've only got that one shot, but 20 gauge with buckshot, one shot is probably going to be sufficient. In fact, if we're being entirely blunt about it, just the fact that you have a firearm and you're ready to use it is probably going to be sufficient. I'm not going to encourage you to count on that. A lot of people say, oh, I have a gun, I'll just scare them off. I'll just rack that slide and they'll run away. They might, but they might not. You better have a plan for what happens if they don't run away. You don't ever want to count on, you know, if someone is threatening your life, if you're in a fight for your life, you don't want to count on that other person being deterred. It'd be great if you were, but you do need to be ready to fire and fire effectively if you need to defend your own life. But this one shot that this gun gives you is going to be pretty potent. And frankly, if you had another shell in your hand and you're ready to reload quickly, you could probably get off a follow-up shot relatively quickly. Let's go give that a try. Okay, I'm just going to shoot at that ammo box, that yellow ammo box that's on the berm, and then I'm going to reload as quickly as I can and fire again. My reload time was terrible. This ammo is really junky ammo, but that long reload time was definitely my fault and not the fault of the ammo. In any event, let's try that drill again. All right, let's try that drill again. That was a lot better. It still wasn't great. Guys, I'm just going to go ahead and say, don't count on that second shot. If you find yourself in a gunfight and this is the only gun you got, you better finish the gunfight with one shot. All right, I'm quite sure with this cut down barrel we have a cylinder choke. I'm going to shoot a pattern at our Amazon box here, and we'll just see what kind of pattern it's throwing. This is roughly 7 yards. So from roughly 7 yards, we threw roughly this pattern, number 8 shot. Make of that what you will. Okay guys, I had high hopes that even though the Turks screw up a lot of shotguns, cheap shotguns, this one, you know, seems solid. They probably wouldn't screw this up, but you know what? I think they did. I mean, this still works, but oh boy. After firing, what, 3 rounds, it's sort of falling apart. I'm not going to say it's a completely unserviceable or hopeless shotgun, but I certainly cannot recommend it without reservation. Okay, for some reason this little doohickey has sort of popped back into place and seems to be behaving itself now. I don't know why, it's a mystery. It's still got a little wiggle to it, but it did before. I don't know. If this is all you can afford, I bet it'll work. If this is all you have for defense, find some ammo, try it out, make sure it likes that ammo. I wouldn't use birdshot. I'd find some buckshot loads. And, you know, you'll probably be okay. If this is all you can afford to put meat on the table and hunt, it'll probably work. It's probably fine. It's got a nice feature in that it folds up. Most of it seems like pretty solid, you know, it solidly locks up. It's safe enough. It's chambered for 3-inch shells if that's what you want. Even though this has been cut down and it's lost some weight, so that should increase recoil. Recoil is not bad with those light birdshot loads. Kicks pretty much like a 20 gauge. It doesn't hurt. A kid could shoot this without any pain. I mean, this has got a lot going for it. It's just not the best construction I've seen. It's a cheap gun, and that shows. So if this is all you can afford, you'll probably be okay. If you can afford something better, get something better. This isn't great. It is what it is. Guys, until next time, keep your powder dry.